welcome to Give More Than You Get to Advance Your Career. I'm Lisa Kendall. I'll be your speaker. I am a digital marketing consultant with Monarchery Marketing. I'm the founder, so it's my own firm. And today we're going to be speaking about being a giver and not a taker in your career. Whether it's volunteering for events, being vocal in Discord channels, live streaming comment threads on YouTube and chatting, or sharing social media posts and tagging connections, or just giving helpful info on LinkedIn. There are so many ways that you can give your time that will make an impact and help your career. Certifications, degrees, technical skills, these are all really important, especially in cybersecurity. And this talk is about the other 10% that you can do that aren't necessarily the resume items, though some of them are, that might actually make an impact. So let's get into it. Here's how I know it can be done. I am a homegrown digital marketing professional. I went from a junior marketing associate to a director of marketing at a multi-million-dollar firm in about 5 years. And my definition of success might not look like yours. To me, at this point in my career, I've been able to carve out a path that gives me freedom, gives me income, lets me do the tasks I enjoy. I am my own boss. At this point, I'm enjoying that, although sometimes it's nice to be on a team and have that day laid out for you, that month, week, year, really predictable. So it's just to everyone's taste, I think. But for me, I'm a project manager, and I will always stay connected to DEI and projects in the diversity, equity, and inclusion space. I grew up, in a very lower income family and put myself through school. For me, opportunities for rural kids, high school kids that otherwise wouldn't have career access to cybersecurity is super important to me. I've been able to do a lot of volunteer work and activism type work that I got paid for towards closing the gender gap in cyber and helping to get more women in the field. And that's something I feel really passionate about. Fair warning, this talk will promote social media networking. I know that in cybersecurity, that's not always a popular opinion. So if you hate social and you will never use it, and you do not think there is any professional value in having accounts, maintaining them, creating professional networking connections, you're probably not here because this is a digital conference, but also you should leave because I have grown my career. I have made amazing connections and seen a lot of success through the power of social media. It's not the be all end all. It's certainly not the most effective part of marketing, in my opinion, but it's also part of the story. And you have to tell the whole story for people to understand what you're trying to say. So one other thing to know about me, I guess, in light of sort of my professional, I mentioned at the beginning, Lisa Kendall. My name is Lisa Kendall-Saurs, as written. I'm getting married next week, so that's exciting. So it's good to know I'm a bride to be, because if I don't make any sense, it's because I have wedding brain. It's in 9 days from now as I record this. I'm also a gardener. I have indoor and outdoor gardens, and I'm a huge book nerd. One year I read over 1,000 books. True story, many word novellas and short stories, but I really like series, so I can kind of chew through those. I can read 2 books a day if I'm really after it. Professionally speaking, I am a digital marketing expert. I worked for CyberSM for 7 years. I took them from a company that didn't have a Facebook page to tens of thousands of followers. I won't take credit for their success as a whole team of people, but I was the one-person marketing team for about 5 of the 7 years I was there. And it takes a lot of different hats to do that kind of job. And so content development, marketing strategy, whatever you want to call it, I've sort of done a little bit of everything in marketing. And I think it's really important to just feel like you can see a lot of different paths to solutions. So if anything else, one example we'll talk about from this book is that nothing will make you friends with someone faster than a good networking opportunity, some intentional networking. And so there's a way that you can give back before we even have dove into it. So speaking of giving and taking, this talk, as I mentioned, is highly crafted around the concepts in Give and Take by Adam Grant, subtitled Why Helping Others Drives Our Success. I don't think it's any mystery that, people like helpful people. They want to experience generosity and also feel like they accomplished something, and they could be you, could be me. I want to feel like my days were useful, like they were productive. For me, that drives me. And professionally speaking, I started as a recruiter. Recruiters know everyone. So in this talk, mind you, I'm coming from the point of view that as a recruiter, as a networking person, those connections are everything, and they will help you succeed in your career. And in cybersecurity, it is a small community of folks. And so being well connected can pay off the deeper in your career that you get. So as I mentioned, this book is on sale on Google Books for $2. Definitely say you should pick it up. The basic premise of it is that there's givers and takers. No surprise there. And how you proceed through life is largely based on your attitude and interpretation of this concept. If you're a taker, you are helping others strategically when it's advantageous to oneself. And the definition of a giver would be that they would just use a different metric of success, whether that's benefiting others at a personal cost or a mutually beneficial situation. It could be either one. And the overarching theme of this book and this story is that you actually can achieve more and have greater success when you're a giver, when you couple that with follow through and grit and the ability to make agreements and own your communication with people and really be present for your professional life in the same way that you are in your personal life. And so in one study, 92% of the people that were surveyed were not willing to contribute more than they receive at work. I can't say that sounds surprising. And we know that empathy and EQ skills are a problem in security right now. By problem, I mean it's hard work to recruit diverse talent. And when they join and they quit because they don't feel welcome, they don't think they have peers, they don't have employee resource groups for support. It's a waste of everyone's time, money, and energy. It's bad for the reputation of the orgs. It's bad for the people. It's bad for the industry. So I want to see us work on that, resolve that, improve those retention rates. They are very poor. It's not just sort of a myth. The numbers have told us that people are not sticking around for as long as they used to. The pandemic has changed that a little bit, but not greatly so. And so what are some other things that we can achieve through this give and take concept? Well, obviously the ripple effect is going to enhance the people around you. So creating value instead of just claiming it for oneself can definitely get you in the good graces of some people. I think that one way that we can apply this to our overtones of how to do it yourself in your career is thinking about the concept of tagging, hashtagging. Social media is basically concentric circles. So if you think of it like your, couple hundred, maybe a couple thousand, if you're doing good work, connections are your first level, your inner circle, if you will, of your social media. All of their connections are your second level. Those connections are your third level. Now, if you're on LinkedIn, this is not a concept I'm foreign to you. However, I think that people forget that when they post, only the people that are online from your following are going to see it in your own insulated network. And so when you're trying to get messaging out, say you're looking for a job, say you found a 0-day, say you got a CV credit to your name, whatever the case might be, you might want to spread the word about something. Well, your message isn't going to go very far if you're not optimizing, reaching out and creating that ripple effect throughout your network. And so tagging in companies, tagging in media, influencers who also blog about this, coworkers, friends that are interested in these concepts, literally anyone to get additional networks, eyes on it is going to help your messaging, your profile, and your story reach more people. And then I think one of my favorite things that I wanted to make sure I really brought to the forefront from this book, and one of the concepts and takeaways, is thinking about bringing our best self to the office. We do a lot of talk about self-care, about mental health, about work-life balance. And I don't think we pay that much attention to the quality of the time that we actually spend at work. I know for myself in the past with corporate jobs, I find myself just kind of staring at the clock, trying to fill those 8 hours, and I have a lot of other things I could be doing that would be better for me than sitting in a chair, staring at a screen, burning up time. We get one life, and I would rather be on the phone with my mom, or be working on my garden, or be starting dinner, playing with my kittens. I got a lot going on. I have kittens and I'm getting married. The point being, are we bringing our best selves to the office and to work every day? Are we finding those pockets of joy and those ways to come away happy and bring our joy and our happiness to our work life, and not reserving our generosity of spirit, our kindness, our exuberance, our goofiness for home? At least I don't. I definitely bring my whole self to work, and I recognize that's a privilege. I don't fear recrimination for being my whole self, and not everyone has that opportunity. And yet I think where you can, and where you can create it, it's important to try to bring your whole self and to bring your best self. Remembering that the people around you have their own story that they're writing, and their own crap they're dealing with, and their own challenges of the day. And, the way that you stick out is either going to be someone who brought good things to my day, or someone who brought BS to my day. And, no one wants to be that second person. So, according to the experts, we'll say this stat's actually from HubSpot. The number one attribute of a good coworker is someone who expresses appreciation and acknowledgement for others. I mean, no kidding, right? Who wants to work with a coworker that steals ideas, who doesn't say thank you, who doesn't take your time for, the valuable asset that it is, takes you for granted? Definitely a pet peeve of mine. And, again, bring it back to a simple way to incorporate this into your day-to-day life. When was the last time you wrote someone a LinkedIn recommendation? It's easy to do. Google review. Those are pretty easy. Follow Friday thread on Twitter. If you're not on Twitter and you're in cybersecurity, I suggest you get on Twitter. It's fun. It's easy to use. It's not the dumpster fire everyone's scared it is purported to be, I promise. But my favorite thing about it is the ease of networking there. It's really easy to get to people, to talk to people, to tag people, to message them directly. We're in a business-driven world, and it is hard to get to people. We can't just call in through the front desk. My first couple of jobs in the professional world, I was a recruiter, and I was calling those gatekeepers, and they are very good at their jobs. I'm sure technology has only made that harder. Thank goodness I'm not pounding the phones anymore for a living. Props to anyone who does that. But I want to work with people who express their appreciation and acknowledge my contributions. And it seems that the majority of folks feel the same way, because that is what HubSpot confirms. A couple more ways you could think about at work to be a daily giver: using action statements to create timelines, agreements, and clear goals with your coworkers. Being prompt with your communication, respecting boundaries as we all go to these asynchronous hours and, out of the office work time, and, working from the beach, hopefully. It's important that we be mindful of people's preferences and time zones. And then, of course, documenting your work. I think that's actually a good teamwork move, because you will never regret having a record of your progress. You can use it to train other people. It's good to, contribute to that hive mind. And you can recreate it more easily next time. And so these are ways that are actually just day-to-day giving strategies, even though they just sound like sort of being an organized professional. So good news. It's not that hard. You might already be doing some of this and didn't even realize it. Some other things that make a good coworker. This is another list. This site is pretty cool. Fellow.app. They had, assessments and teamwork exercises and stuff like that. So if you're looking for ways to be a better coworker and actively work on that, you might check their site out. No endorsement here. But just looking over this list, this is all pretty common sense stuff. And yet, really thinking on how to do better. Like I know for myself, I struggle with getting to know people. I'm a very matter of fact person. I don't really want to small talk on the phone, but that doesn't mean it's not important for me to build that relationship, especially with people that are reporting up into me or who I'm going to count on for transparency and honesty through the course of our project. I don't want them to think I'm a jerk. Practicing active listening, meaning I'm not just waiting for my chance to talk. I'm actually thinking through what someone's telling me. My brain is always going a million miles an hour, and stopping to slow down and really listen to someone is a reminder that I need sometimes. Having a growth mindset. I joke, I'm a marketing person, as I mentioned, and I joke, I'm not in sales, and my boss would kill me for saying this, that I give things away for free. Because I just don't always think about the bottom line of it. But that doesn't mean I'm not thinking about growth. That doesn't mean I'm not thinking about how to increase the footprint, reach more people, create engagements and get that message to a broader audience, just because I'm not always thinking about how to get paid. But, usually I remember at the end of the day. Since this is a cybersecurity conference, I wanted to be specific because my background did come from a cybersecurity recruiting firm, and we did tons of work with great groups that have a lot of networking and opportunity to offer someone who's looking for ways to get more involved. There are hundreds of events every year. So many of them are online right now, everything ranging from practicals to tests to classes, facilitated learning, ranges. It's completely up to you how fast or slow you go, and they're all just waiting for you to show up. So any one of these groups, I've got probably a name at every one of those. If you're looking for an in or a chapter, most of those have either regional chapters or it's somebody where there will be ways for you to get involved. Here's another sort of list of ways and things that you could do. Online events, I mentioned. In-person events are coming back. Oh my gosh, can you believe it? I don't think I'm ready yet. Discord channels. Discord is such a cool way of getting to know people and helping out, and getting to find out who needs what, who needs intros, who's looking for a job, who's looking for XYZ talent, who's looking for, a house or whatever. Discord, everything comes up in Discord. Who's looking for a recipe? I've seen a lot of cooking threads on there, but more so professional support, creating that community for yourself. It's really hard to make adult friends as adults. And I've only successfully done it like in training programs when I'm with people a lot. And so I think these are a really good outlet for that too, for someone who's feeling the itch of the need for social contact after 3 years of this pandemic raging on. Continuing on YouTube, of course, YouTube Live, YouTube creators are awesome. There's a ton of them that I like. LinkedIn Live, some folks are trying to make a push on that platform, and you can find some really good content. I mentioned tagging people. Tagging someone who's a thought leader in a story about research or data or, a way of thinking about something that's relevant to their professional opinions is helpful. People like helpful people. And so thinking about ways to get into the ear and in the eyes in front of your business contacts, your targets, if you will, can really, really get you far when you think about giving them something they didn't know about. I've had really good interactions with influencers, high-level people, famous people, CEOs, companies, just by literally reaching out, direct messaging them, joining threads, commenting back, hitting reply. Wow, I love that comment. Literally just trying, just being in their ear and getting in front of them, following channels, following them on social. This seems common sense, and yet I find people all the time that aren't doing some of this stuff. So think of it like you're sitting at a table at a restaurant, and everyone in the restaurant is talking about something interesting to you, and you can just pick which table you want to sit at. That's what these online events are. It's low pressure. You come in, you leave, you commit as much time as you want, and yet, there's no reason to be scared. These people that you're trying to contact can't get anywhere without their own social media engagement too. They need followers, they need people commenting back, and you might make a friend behind the scenes. You never know. People like people who share free and useful things, as I've mentioned a couple of times. So giving to get instead of taking is definitely the way to go. So many doors have been open for me, putting my giving foot forward, because when you get someone in the frame of mind that you're not trying to sell them on your answer, your solution, but rather you're there to talk through their problems, their challenges, their obstacles, it changes the whole tone of the conversation. And it sets that tone of giving rather than being a taker. And to me, from a business standpoint, this is one of the best applications of the takeaways from this book, just because it allows us to really get a picture of how we benefit people without even meaning to, without even knowing that we are helping them or giving them something that they didn't know they needed, they didn't know they wanted, they didn't know they didn't have. Any one of those scenarios is a good one. But I think that just keeping our mind on generosity of spirit and kindness is going to go so far. Especially in this industry that is really challenged and really does struggle with empathy, EQ, kindness, inclusion, name it. I think we're getting better, but there's still more work to do. But at any rate, I'm super thankful to be included as a woman in security, as a first generation college graduate in my family, as a digital non-traditional marketer who did not go to school and was self-taught. I'm really in love with the cybersecurity industry, and can't wait to hear the rest of the threads and chats from everybody. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today, and we will see you out there.